So before I start today's episode, I'd like it to be noted that COVID-19 is once again back on the rise. Remember, side effects can include headache, back pain, neck pain, nausea, dry mouth, jet lag. It can give you the runs. And for those of you that don't live in the South, the runs means diarrhea. It can also make you constipated. And it can also give you every side effect in the freaking world. So you get hit by a bus and it somehow be COVID. You could literally get hit by a car, have skid marks all over you. The paramedics could come and take you to the hospital, and as soon as they bring you in there could be two liberal doctors standing there, and one of you look at you and go, "What happened to that guy?" And the other one could look you over and go, "I think it's COVID." Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. I ain't going to beat that dead horse. Back to our regular scheduled program. So, I remember this one time when I was a kid, my mom was having trouble getting sleep. I don't know if my dad was snoring or whatever. I didn't ask. But all I know is the next day went by, she didn't get no sleep. The next day went by, she didn't get no sleep. The next day went by, she didn't get no sleep. The next day went by, she didn't get no sleep. And then the next thing you know, a week has gone by, and she still hasn't gotten any sleep. And then one day, it was the weekend. My mom was off work. It was during the day, and she finally went to sleep. And then my dad got off work, came straight home, walked right up to my mom and went, "Honey, honey, wake up and get me something to eat." Speaking of my father, me and the family's taking my dad out to eat tonight at a nice restaurant. You know, one of them real nice fancy places, for his 65th birthday. So I guess I might have to wear something real nice. Like a Kid Rock t-shirt, an AC/DC hat, some khakis, or maybe something from the Hillbilly Hoedown collection. What do y'all think? I feel like the comment section is going to be full of "don't do any of this." So anyway, I went to the doctor the other day, and the doctor starts asking me these questions. One of them was, "Have you suffered any recent injuries?" I said, "Yes. The other day I suffered some brain damage." He said, "Well, what happened?" I said, "Well, I was thinking the other day," and he said, "Yeah, go on." I said, "Well, that's everything." One of the things the doctor also said was, "Dustin, you got to start taking better care of yourself." I said, "Well, Doc, I'm doing the best that I can. I'm eating 3 fried chickens a day." So let's look at some news since the last time I did a podcast. So it was reported by CNN that Biden is looking to put in for a potential TikTok ban. Really? When I say this, I mean this sincerely. As always, thanks for nothing, Joe. So the Babylon Bee reported that Joe Biden was real disappointed after a huge scoop of vanilla ice cream turns out to be Pope Francis. And another news outlet reported that Joe Biden beats out Brussels sprouts as America's least favorite vegetable. Well, we knew that. So, the Democrats had their fantastic so-called DNC. And Hillary Clinton and both AOC made a speech at this DNC. And AOC got on stage and started her speech out with, "I think it is just disgusting that Republicans think that I should go back to bartending." To which I kindly went to social media to post, "Hey, I think AOC should go back to bartending." And then Hillary Clinton got up on stage right after that and started her speech off with, "I'm here to tell y'all about a time 104 years ago when women were first given the right to vote." To which I kindly took to social media to post, 104 years ago was your first birthday, Hillary. And there was a woman seen in public wearing an "I've had a 21 abortions" t-shirt. I'm glad she put that explanation point in there. Nah, I don't believe it. What kind of a sicko man would even sleep with this thing? That's right, I said this thing. I don't care. right, let's get to today's episode. So, for this episode, I wanted to do something interesting. I don't have a guest today, but I had a friend. So I did a Q&A, as you know, in the one of the previous episodes. I think it was the last one, actually. Um, and I didn't get a lot of questions. So this time I had a friend of mine go out, and he was asking random people questions. And I think this is interesting because I had him get me a list of questions, and he sent them to me on my phone. And I'm going to read them and answer them the best that I can. And the interesting thing about this is I don't know who wrote the questions. So this could be interesting. So let's see what we got here. And he sent me some questions that were I think my mic needed to be adjusted. Can y'all hear me now? Checking 1 2 3 4. I know my voice don't sound right, so I don't know if I hit a button on this thing or what I did. But anyway, all right, here we go. So, my friend sent me these questions in a certain order. So he divided them into groups because he got a list of questions that were random, and he got a list of comedian questions. So he separated them into two separate groups. I'll start with the random questions first. Okay, I'll start with him first. Let's see, what do we got here? If you were a pizza topping, what would you be and why? I don't know, cheese? Well, that's not a topping, is it? I don't know, pepperoni. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I know. Chocolate chip. Can you describe your ideal superpower and how would you use it in office? In office. Sorry, it says in the office. Well, I don't know nothing about using it in no office, but I wanna say this. I'll tell you what my superpower would be: invisibility. And I'll tell you exactly how I'd use it. I'd wait for like a husband and a wife or whatever to get into a car, and then, or to unlock a car, and then I'd get in the back seat when they ain't paying attention, and then they'd get in, and we take off down the road, and then I make myself reappear and say, "So, where are we going?" What we If you could turn any activity into an Olympic sport, what would you choose and why? Um, I don't know. That I don't understand the question. Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. If you could turn any activity into an Olympic sport, what would you choose and why? I don't know. Dipping chips into salsa. I don't know. What is the most creative excuse you've ever come up with for being late or missing work? The truth. If I'm ever late to work, the traffic was terrible, or if I miss work, I'm sick. I mean, I don't do that, and you can't afford to do that now. What would you rather have, a pet dragon or a pet unicorn, and why? Somebody really asked me that? Where did my friend get this question from? Liberal California? You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll ask my niece and I'll get back to you on that. What is the strangest talent you have that no one knows about? Um, well, I mean, if it's strange, I don't really consider it a talent, so I don't know how to answer that. If you could switch lives with any historic figure for a day, who would it be and why? I don't know. There's a lot of great historic figures out there. There's Donald Trump. There's I'm just gonna say ones that are living. There's Dale Earnhardt Jr. He was great. Ooh, but I'd like to be a champion. Jeff Gordon was a great champion. Um, Somebody from the Atlanta Braves. I mean, I don't know. A lot of great champions. What's the best or worst dad joke that you've ever heard? Can I just say something right now? I hate dad jokes and puns with a passion. Lowest form of comedy. If you could create a new holiday, what would it be and how would people celebrate it? Well, I think we need a comedian's day. People need a day to celebrate comedians, the ones that actually make people laugh, not those losers from late night. Although I like Gutfeld and Jimmy Fallon. And I like that Chris Boyle on One American News. He's great. What's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done? I don't know. Next question. If you could get any financial character. Okay, wait a minute. I didn't read that right. If you could have any fictional character as a co-worker, who would it be and why? A fictional character? So like a cartoon character? Um I guess I'd say probably Bob the Builder, because as annoying as he is, he can actually fix something, unlike certain others. What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten for breakfast? Probably if I had to, I want to say the breakfast pizza from QT. I bought it a few times, but that was a long time ago. I don't even know if they still have that or not. If you could go back in time and give yourself advice, what would it be? Um, I don't know. I honestly don't think any advice I could have given my younger self would have benefited me in any way. I think my life was always going to turn out the way it has. What's the most creative thing you've ever done on a dare? Um, well, am I doing the dare or is someone else doing the dare? I don't really know. Um, well, I guess I'm doing the dare, right? Or no? Well, okay. I do have a story for that though. I don't know. I can't say specifically if you're asking me if I'm doing the dare or if I dare somebody else, but I can tell you this story. So me and some friends of mine were at this bar themed restaurant. It's kind of like an Applebee's, except that they have karaoke and stuff like that. Um, so they kept daring me to get up on stage and do some karaoke. So what I did was, and I finally agreed to it because they kept bothering me. But I pulled a fast one on them. I got up on stage and I did turn down for what? Turn down for what? Turn down for what? Because that in that song, all you got to do is say turn down for what. You don't have to sing it. I guess I should have done the tequila song though. You know, tequila. I wouldn't even have to keep saying "turn down for what." All I'd have to do is keep saying tequila every once in a while. But I got off stage and he said, "I thought you were gonna sing." I said, "No. You said you wanted me to do karaoke. You did not say sing." I would just like to clarify something before I answer some more questions. I don't know. I think there's something funny going on with my microphone. I'm not sure what it sounds like on what it's going to sound like on y'all's end, but it sounds kind of funny to me. I'm not sure what's going on with this thing. Can y'all hear me better now? It sounds like you sound like auto tune or something. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. My auto tune is not on, so I don't know why it sounds like that. Oh, screw it. I ain't gonna mess with it. What is the most creative? No, I already read that one. What is the worst date you've ever been on? Oh Lord, we getting personal now. Um, I believe it ended something like this. So you really want to be a comedian? Yeah. A check, please. I believe it ended a little something like that. All right, here's the list of the comedian questions. What inspired you to become a comedian, and what was your first gig like? Pretty basic, you know. You perform in front of a small crowd. You know, it's just a small crowd. How do you come up with new material? Do you draw from personal experiences or current events? Yes, both. Um, there are things that in the news media today and the things that you see online and things like that you can poke fun at, and there are things that happen in everyday life that you can also poke fun at, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Who are some of your biggest comedic influences, and how have they shaped your style? Well, I believe I answered that question once. It was actually wrote a little bit differently, but I answered that question in the last Q&A that I did. I like a lot of comedians, like the blue collar comedians, like Larry the Cable Guy, Jeff Foxworthy, Bill Engvall, Ron White. I used to like George Lopez, but then he made that joke about killing Donald Trump, and I'm like, I don't want him. I don't want him. The liberals can have him. I don't want him. He went too far. But and you know there's Steve Harvey. I like him. Jay Leno's funny. David Letterman's was great. Just a lot of comedians. You know, I think Roseanne Barr was fantastic. She still is fantastic. She still does comedy. I like Gutfeld. I like Jimmy Fallon. As I said earlier, I like Chris Boyle from One American News. What is the most challenging part of being a comedian, and how do you handle hecklers or tough crowds? Oh, well, that's very simple. I don't care. Can I just ask a question? Why do comedians, liberal comedians, they keep catering to the 2%? Stop doing that. All they do is they try to make their acts more politically correct, and when they do that, they still can't get the 2% to like them, and then the 98% that did like them doesn't like you anymore because it's not funny. Why are we catering to people who hate comedy? That doesn't make sense. How can you share a memorable or embarrassing moment on stage? No. How do you balance humor with sensitivity, especially when talking controversial topics? Oh, well, I don't care. As I said before, I don't care about that too whiny liberal percent that's trying to ruin everything for the rest of us. What's your favorite type of comedy? The good kind? Your basic stand up? I like that. What? How do you keep? How do you stay current and keep your material fresh in a constantly changing world? Well, that's not hard. What advice would you give to inspiring comedians just starting out? Well, it's like I said, be yourself. Don't change for anybody. As I said, as I've done said, like I think it was been 3 times now. I'll say it a fourth. The 2% that you cannot cater to the 2%. Never, don't change for them. Do what you want to do. Tell the jokes you want to tell. Tell the stories you want to tell. And if it offends people, you're probably doing it right. Have you had any strange or unusual requests from fans or bookers? Okay, okay. Before I answer that question, I would just like it to be noted that, and I appreciate the question, I really do, but this is a question for people who have made it, you know? I have not really made it. I'm struggling, I'm struggling to get discovered, you know? But I do appreciate the question. How do you handle the pressure of constantly being on and having to be funny? I mean, you have your good days and your bad days. You got some jokes here and there that may not land as well or may not land like you think it's going to, but most of the time it goes all right. How do you see the comedy landscape changing and how do you adapt to those changes? Oh, I get it. You're asking me how do I keep it PC, and as I've done said multiple times, I don't. What's next for you? Any new projects, tours in the works? Um, no, like I said, I have again, I have not made it. These are questions. Some of these questions are for people who have made it. I have not made it, but I do appreciate the question. But no, I do have some stuff coming up. I don't want to give anything away. I've been getting some new guests lined up, some people who are not very famous but are locally famous in my area or in my state, so to speak. So, no, I am excited about that. All right, that's all the questions we got for today. Thank you guys. Remember, you can always watch the Comedic Genius Show on Facebook, Rumble, and YouTube. Y'all have a good day and God bless.